Hi, I want to talk about not practicing mediocre performance or allowing undesirable behaviors. Okay, but my caveat is before I start talking, this is only in regards to dogs that are not stressy or motivationally challenged because they have their own set of rules, and this might help, it might not, but so stressy, motivationally challenged dogs have their own rules. So this is for kind of the normally happy dog. Okay. Um, so you don't want to practice mediocre performances. And so how do you define mediocre performances? So in my mind, I'm thinking about mediocre performances or undesirable behaviors. So like spinning, excessive barking, switching the wrong way. Those are behaviors that I don't want. Okay. Um, Mediocre performance, it would be like really wide turns, really slow off the start, slow at the end, things that I can fix. Okay. And I want you to not think like, well, I can fix it later. Like, I can fix it later should never come out of your mouth because fixing it later just causes more problems. And so this is why. Yes, you can still see me, fine. It doesn't matter if you can see me. So when I'm going to talk about neurology, because maybe this will help to explain and help you understand why not to practice the things I just talked about. Because when the dog does something, when you do something, there's a neural pathway created from your brain to your body, your muscles, and, to tell them what to do, right? And so when you first start doing something, it could be awkward. It could be you're not really sure. You're kind of slow. You're not efficient because you're just learning that skill. Okay, so fine. The more you do that thing, the more it paves the neural pathway from the brain to the body. And the more paving you have, the more myelin, the more automated that response is, the quicker that response is. And so that becomes like an automatic response. So like you don't think about brushing your teeth anymore, you just do it. Sometimes you don't even remember if you did it or not. So if you think about the physiology of it, whatever. So if your dog spins, turns the wrong way, goes really wide, and you keep doing it like that. So if they continually spin, they continually switch the wrong way, they continually go wide, they are creating the pathway from the brain to the body to do it like that. And then the more you let it happen, the more automated it becomes. So it becomes just automatic behavior. Like you've paved the highway. Now you're driving on the highway, even if it's not what you want. Like you've turned down the wrong highway. Like the brain doesn't know if it's right or wrong or if it's what you want. It just knows what you do, So it just knows that, okay, we're going this direction or I'm spinning. And so I'm creating the pathway to do it that way. And it doesn't know that you don't want the dog to spin, or the dog's brain doesn't know I'm not supposed to spin, or I'm not supposed to go wide, or I'm not supposed to switch the wrong way. Because you've continuously let it happen. And that has paved the way from the brain to the body to continuously do it like that. And it becomes an automated response to do it like that when you cue that, whatever that may be. So if you don't fix it right away, then you've paved the highway to do it the wrong way or the wrong thing. And then it's not that you can't fix it later, but it'll just take you more reps, more times to do it, because now you have to create a whole nother neural pathway from the brain to the body and you have to do it multiple times, because now you need to pave that highway. And that highway needs to be paved even smoother and thicker and whatever than your other highway that you were driving on, because it automatically wants to go that direction. But now there's a, it doesn't say, oh, there's a new way and that's better. It just says, the brain just goes, which is the way I normally do it. And so you have to do it many more times, if at all possible, to fix that, whatever it may be. Okay, I hope I'm explaining this well. So if your dog spins, so like if my dog spun, I would stop instantaneously and work on, so if, let's say, let me give an example. 1, 2, 3, 4, straight line. And between 3 and 4, dog spins. So I would get my bucket out, get my toy out, put it past 4. I would stop. Okay, put my toy, put a bucket out past 4, and start at right before 4. Release dog, cue dog to drive forward to the bucket or the toy. And then I might do that one more time, maybe one more time, and then back up to 3, 4. Okay, now can we do 3, 4? Do that a few more times. And then honestly, I'm probably done. It depends on my dog's mental and physical being at the time. But then I might go back 1, 2, 3, 4 and end with 4. But I would end with 4. Like I wouldn't continue on with the rest of the sequence, because that's where's my problem, between 3 and 4. And if between 3 and if my dog spun, then I would go back again to just do 3 and 4. So if I went before 3 and they spun again, then I would go in front of 4 and just drive them forward to 4. So that you are hopefully creating the neural pathway to do it the correct way, to read your cue, your drive forward cue, and not spin. Like switching, if your dog switches the wrong way, and then so he switches right and then left, kind of does a square. Getting cold, I gotta turn down my air. If your dog switches the wrong way and you let them switch the wrong way, and then you switch the right and then the left, and then you continuously go on, then the dog has created a neural pathway to always, when you want to switch left, they go right and then left. And if you keep letting that happen, then you've paid the neural pathway to the brain. So when you cue your switch to the left, the brain goes, oh, we need to go right and then left, because that is the automatic response, because the dog has paved the neural pathway to do it that way, because you kept allowing that to happen. So how do you fix it? As soon as they switch the wrong way, you stop, you get your treat out, and then you switch them to the left, or the correct way. Stop, switch them to the left, like shadow handling. Just turn and reward the correct turn. Reward the correct turn. Reward the correct turn. And this is why you need to reward things multiple times, because you're working on paving the neural pathway from the brain to the body to do it correctly, to really understand that cue and to more automate that response by paving that neural pathway to the brain to do what you've asked them to do. That's why you need to reward multiple times. Okay? And reward that exact behavior that you want, not going back an obstacle, not continuing on. Like dog switches wrong way, you stop instantaneously and work that switch. Dog going wide. If the dog goes wide, I'm going to stop and then get a treat out, get my toy out, and just work that turn. Get a tighter turn, get a tighter turn, get a tighter turn, and reward that turn. Reward it, reward it, reward it. And not continue on until I get that tight turn. Because I don't want to work on doing it later, because they've already turned wide a lot. And I'm totally speaking from experience here, because Tandem was really, really a wide turner, and I never got him to turn really tight. He could switch tight, that's probably the only thing. Because I was like, who cares? And I remember Sharon saying to me, well, you know, he turns really wide. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing the right, I'm in the right order of sequences. Like, we're doing the right thing. So who cares if he goes wide? And he was fast, so I don't care if he could have been faster. Who cares? Like, that was my thought process, was like, well, who cares? So you might be thinking the same thing, like, who cares if they go wide? But in reality, it was probably ends up being a little bit harder on his body too, because he turned wide and he didn't collect it appropriately and turn right. So it could have been a little bit more difficult on his body turning wide than collecting and turning right, the correct turning tight, right? So since Tandem, who is 15 and obviously retired, like Jay and Rev, who are 12, and all my dogs since then, they all turn tight. They all collect right away. They turn tight right away because not only do I teach them to do it, I don't accept mediocre performance. And if they don't do it how I want them to do it, then I will stop and then I will work that, whatever it may be, and reward it. Work it, reward it. Do it, reward it. Multiple times so that you pave the neural pathway from the brain to the body to do it correctly. So, when you're training, think about this, and hopefully this will help you think about, and there's multiple other scenarios. These are just the three that pop in my head while I'm driving. So just think about that when you're training. And I don't find this to be demotivating, and in fact, it's motivating. So you could perhaps do it with motivationally challenged dogs. It depends. Like, that's where I'm always putting the caveat on the stressy dogs. Like Emmy, I still kind of just go with what she's 4, almost 5. She's going to be 5 soon. I'm finally going, okay, I think I can add a little bit more criteria to her because she was just really nervous, stressy dog, and whatever she did was great. So I finally now am actually asking for a little bit more criteria. She's tiny, so she's going to turn tight anyway, and I would never allow her to switch the wrong way though. So let me go back to that. So like Zumi, her brother, when I started training, he's my nephew's dog, and we're training them both. And Zumi always switched the wrong way, one direction, and we stopped instantaneously and switched him the right way, and it never demotivated him because you reward them right away. Okay, the stopping usually could demotivate dogs, but depending on the scenario, I might have thrown my toy anyway. It's scenario specific. A lot of times I will just toss my toy and then restart at that moment in time of that specific whatever I need to work on. So I don't find it demotivating. In fact, it is motivating because we're going to stop and reward our dogs. So they actually just gotten rewarded 3-4 times for doing just like 1 or 2 obstacles. So they're like, woo, this is great, as opposed to getting rewarded maybe once for doing 10. So it could work with motivationally challenged dogs or stressy dogs. I just want to have to put the caveat out there. But generally, it really does help to actually keep them more motivated because we're rewarding them more often, and you're rewarding them for what you want, which is creating the neural pathway from the brain to the body to automate it, make it more quick response, etc. So anyway, think about it. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy training.